Welcome everybody, we're really glad to have you here. Just in brief, my name is Jason, I'm co-founder of Edge Growth and now 10x Entrepreneur, and we're going to be hosting a marvelous panel tonight talking about some of the lessons from scale-ups in South Africa. We're giving away a 3-day bootcamp, a masterclass on scaling up, so if that interests you, then ears up. We're going to be asking you for an impromptu pitch at the end of the evening. So pay careful attention to what we're going to be talking about and then pitch your business against the lessons we share. When you start, you're an experiment, you're trying to find something worth scaling. Then you find it and you scale it. That introduces quite a couple of fundamentally important shifts for you as an entrepreneur into your business. What differentiates the 10x entrepreneurs that make it through? And it turns out that you can actually observe 12 things that they do much better than entrepreneurs that get stuck. The first of which is focus. They don't scale it until they have nailed it. So that is focus. The second is they learn how to shift from experimenting to executing. The third thing they do well is they realize that I'm not going to be the one to scale all of this. It's going to be other people. And so they build a team. Number 4, harness your board. What is the worst thing about having a board as an entrepreneur? It's that you have to report to them. And what happens if you don't perform in the company you built? They can fire you. Number 5, they systematize revenue growth. They move from having every sale as a project that involves me to having a high velocity engine that produces leads and converts those into sales systematically. Number 6, very similarly, they systematize how they delight customers. 10x entrepreneurs build culture and systems around delighting customers. Number 7, they manage money militantly. Number 8, be investable. You may not want investors. I'm one and I wouldn't want me either. But even if you don't want investors, you want optionality. The next 4 disciplines are actually personal disciplines. The first of which, again, is focus. See if you spot a theme over here. 10x entrepreneurs realize that the greatest threat to their business is how thinly spread they are. Number 10, bring your A game. 10x entrepreneurs orchestrate their role around the stuff that they're brilliant at, where they can make their highest contribution. Which leads to number 11. In my view, this is actually the number 1 law of scaling up, which is scale thyself. And lastly, 10x entrepreneurs choose success, which means they figure out what's important to them, they choose that, they live with it.
My brother and I co-founded a company called Zoona about 6 years ago. I'm going to talk in American dollars because we haven't raised any money in South Africa, but we're a business based in Cape Town that exists to help communities thrive. We help people send and receive money when they need to most. Through our various stages, we've raised $250,000 of angel capital. We raised $1 million of grant capital. We raised $7 million of equity capital from our Series A investors. We raised $3 million of debt. We have a $6 million facility for African entrepreneurs, which we only use $1.5 million right now. And we're presently closing a $12 million investment round. And all of that was achieved with one product, a very simple product in a very small market north of here called Zambia. And we're now taking on that $12 million because we finally feel we're good enough to go and scale and see what we can do elsewhere.
I'm a recovering fintech entrepreneur and I'm now a fintech investor. So I was a founding member of a business called Time, which was a digital banking business, which launched in 2012 and we very quickly scaled. We launched a product called Mobile Money with MTN and Pick and Pay, and within 9 months we'd opened up 1 million bank accounts and we'd processed R1 billion in transactions. So it was an extraordinary success in the South African context. That business got bought out by Commonwealth Bank of Australia, and I now sit in Rand Merchant Investment Holdings and I look after the fintech portfolio.
Over your years, what have been the greatest difficulties, obstacles to building an A team?
I think one of them is probably as an entrepreneur getting to really understand yourself. We have tremendous strengths, and I think you have to go and start a business and drive one forward. But about 1.5 years ago, we really felt we weren't scaling to the degree we wanted to. And one of the exercises we did is we took my brother and I's sort of Myers-Briggs characteristics, and we just sent the words out to the company. At that point, I think we were about 70 employees. And it was which of these words, which were our strengths and weaknesses, described the culture in this company. And 86% of our strengths were ingrained in the culture, but so were 52% of the weaknesses. And it was just such an eye-opener that we were actually a total bottleneck to that scale that we were striving for. We then, and we've been very good around this. Right from day one, we appointed a CEO, we appointed a CFO, so we had other people in the business, but we overlaid their personality characteristics over ours, and essentially we'd hired ourselves in so many ways. So the same weaknesses were just amplified. So I guess the big challenge then was trying to bring people in, because I firmly believe you must focus on your strengths and just be aware of your weaknesses. You can't really change.
You've looked at over 150 potential investees. You've banked one of those. Tell me why. Why one?
There's so many reasons. For me, there's three big obstacles to businesses getting funding. And the first one is that businesses don't generate sales. It's the number one reason. Guys spend a lot of time focusing on really sexy tech, or they focus on really sexy product, or they focus on some really sexy concept, but they cannot make it marketable and they cannot monetize it. Every amazing entrepreneur that we've come across has been hyper-focused, knows the key metrics in their business, at any point in time can tell you exactly what makes this business tick, and is able to shut down options. The second thing is charisma. And charisma comes in many different forms. You don't have to be a big out there personality, but you have to be selling a story, and you have to be able to get people up in the morning for something greater than yourself. The third thing is they have to have ambition. If you are not waking up to change the world in some way, then for me, there's no point in going through the heartache of starting a business. And that third reason is very seldom about money. The greatest entrepreneurs I've met are not in it for the money.
How did you solve the kind of affordability issue when it was time to bring in more senior talent?
I think one thing it's key to any entrepreneur is revenue, and cash solves all sin. So we've always been incredibly focused around driving revenue, driving customer experience. Anything you do must be about creating value for customers to generate money.
If you were to pinpoint one thing that you wish you fixed earlier or you didn't get wrong in the first place, what would it be?
I think from my mind it was understanding that diversity is not a need, it's a strength. And I see diversity in a whole range of things, from whether you're an extrovert to an introvert, to whether you're a J or whatever it is. So just the ability to understand that diversity and diverse teams are so much more impactful and so much better than non-diverse teams.
If you had a magic wand, you could fix one thing in every business that comes across your path. What would your magic wand do?
It would get them to choose their partners and sort out their shareholding issues.
As a startup, I know that I've been in a position where I've had people to say, okay, fine, you can join me, but majority of people that I've approached, especially from diversity skills, they want piece of a pie. Just okay, fine, give me 20%. So when is it exactly the perfect time where you can involve other people, and especially where you need to give away some equity?
On one hand, we treated our shares like gold, but on the other hand, we also were very willing to partake them. So I'll share the story we had with our CEO. He was a Canadian guy. He finished his Oxford MBA, and then he had his own dream to come to Africa and link American capital with African entrepreneurs, and that was his vision. And he arrived at our office, and he basically got clientitis. He just wouldn't leave. But what he actually then did do is we agreed a market wage, and for 24 months he took 80% of that market wage and put it into the business to get shares. So to me, it's finding people that are absolutely aligned with your values and beliefs. And one thing I refuse is any paper tiger partners at any stage in any business. People who tell you they'll open doors, people that they've got their own businesses, they've got their own life. You need to find, especially in the early days, you need to find people totally aligned with your values, and they need to sweat with you, or they're just not worth having around, is my advice.
Where I want to strengthen that is anything that you do within your business has to be on an arm's length basis. So if, for example, someone says to you they're going to bring in a partner, therefore I should get equity for that, rather structure an arm's length service agreement on that. To say, if you provide that service, I'd rather pay you a commercial rate. Because that's where you get a lot of issues. So if you're going to involve people, try to structure a commercial agreement. Only give people shares if they are 100% committed to the business and you want to keep them in the business for a long time because they're employees. And then the other thing is only give equity if you're raising capital. I mean, that's the other thing. But, when it comes to the capital conversation, is that I do say to people, that's where you've got to have the conversation of saying, do I want a big part of a little pie? Or do I want a little part of a big pie? I mean, people would be surprised to find out how little Willem Rose and Adrian Gore actually own of Outsurance and Discovery, and yet how wealthy those men are and how much influence they have. So those are the things you have to think through in your head.
Can you just elaborate on your early days, you and your brother, like how you started the idea and the steps you actually took until you started generating money?
One of the best bits of advice I ever read or heard was, how do you get to make good decisions? Well, with experience. And how do you get experience? Well, you make lots of bad decisions. So this was not our first rodeo. We have sold comics, we have sold airtime, we have built a vending 12-tiered money packet thing in Bangladesh. And so we just tried everything. We backed ourselves. We just kept going. In terms of cash, we always just believed in cash. And then the only thing I could say we did well is we surrounded ourselves with amazing people. And I think that's the only way you can scale and grow a business, even at a very early day.
We're going to shift gears now. We are going to give you the opportunity to pitch your business, and here are your judges. And so we're going to ask you to answer 5 questions in 90 seconds if you want to pitch. Question 1, what do you do? So who's your customer? What problem do you solve for them? Question 2, are you guys writing down? How long you been doing it for? Question 3, how big are you? What's your revenue? What's your growth at present? Question 4, why are you going to win? And question 5, why is now the time to go big?
My name is Muso. The name of my company is DH Outdoor. What do? We are an outdoor advertising business.
How big we are? We're starting off, we're crawling. We don't have revenue yet. We have done some of the development. This is a regulated space, so there's a lot of things we need to get in place to make us go live and put customers in the system.
We are solving the problem for Stockville's, especially their administration activities that are a nightmare.
Why do we sell cows online? It's because lots of people want to invest, want to save, but the stock exchange across the road is a complicated minefield. They don't understand it. So we created a way for people to own cows, but we look after them look after the cows for them. So they don't have to be a farmer, they don't have to own land.
Why are we going to win? Because currently we're 1x. We've got 1 client and we'd love to take it to 10x.
People will always eat, so we're trying to protect the bees at the same time, raise awareness around the importance of bees and food security. So we'll always eat, and that's why we think we're ready to scale up now.
Give him a hand, Mr. Cow Trader.
Yeah.
Shezi, well done, mate.
Yeah.
Congrats. We have a
He's
warm
one of
feeling
our-
about your business.
One of our Alpha Code members, and we're very proud of what he's doing. It's an amazing business.
Cool, and then let's just get stuck into a couple of nuggets of feedback. Brad?
Cool. Well, to the winner, you had me at a low, eh? I think to all of you, well done. Probably some of the stuff I was looking for is did you understand your true customer need and the problem you're solving for your customer? Did you understand the choke point? And this is something Jason's team actually introduced us to about 2 years. And the choke point is there needs to be one thing in any industry that you will own so much better than anyone else that no one else could touch you. And the last bit of advice, just avoid any what I'd almost call business book jargon, and just tell your story. So, yeah, I mean, literally, you had me at a low. You've got such a passion for your business, and I saw it in the other people. So, congratulations to everyone for being brave enough to try. There were some really, really cool ideas from all of you. So, well done, eh?
Cool. Dom?
Yeah, I don't think I've got much else to add. I think it's also, for me, I was also looking for, does anyone have something that's very creative, that is really solving a problem? Because if you have something that's really interesting and really creative and quite different, you really are going to scale because you're going to deliver something that people want.